What are you doing, baby girl? Puddle. Puddle.
Oh, big one.
Puddle. Big one. Good job. Shall we get you home? Should we get you home and dry? Yeah, come on. And we're back home. So, when we had our sixth child, we always said there would be very little screen time. Turns out, screen time equals peace. So we've got some Pip and Posy playing, and also some weird program on the tablet as well. So we've doubled down, and then we get a bit of peace. So, with that being said, in today's video, I want to talk about cheap versus expensive. I want to weigh in on that debate, and I also want to give you some tips to consider when you're making your next purchase that will either save you time or money, or could save you both. But first, I need to get out of this noisy house and get out and take some photos. Ah, that's a little bit better. Okay, so in today's video, I wanted to talk about cheap versus expensive and my thought process when purchasing new equipment. So I'm going to give you some tips, or maybe sort of questions you can ask yourself when buying gear, whether you should buy the cheap gear or the more expensive stuff. I think the problem, not so much a problem as a bit of a benefit and a problem, I suppose, but the problem for manufacturers like the big name brands is that people can copy what they've put out there. Now, it's a bit harder with electronics and gadgets like, you know, microphones, all that sort of stuff. They put years and years of research into it, and that hikes their price up. So when you buy a, say, Rode lav mic, for example, you're looking at a tiny little piece of plastic with a little bit of a fairy cover on the end, but that's years and years of work of development and research and you know, advertising, all the things that go into making a good product. A cheaper version of that can come along and copy it, and whether it's a poor copy or a good copy, they can then knock it out, put it on eBay, Amazon, places like that. Don't have all the advertising to worry about, don't have all the marketing, don't have the, you know, research and development sort of side of things to worry about as much. They'd still have to develop it, but their cost is considerably less. So I suppose the question isn't so much, is the price cheaper? It's, is the product cheaper? Is it any good to us just because it cost us a fraction of the price? It still needs to be something that we can use. So it goes without saying, work and pleasure are two different things, and that goes with your gear. So 9 times out of 10, work gear is going to be the most expensive gear you can buy, or the most expensive gear in the sense that for that particular use, you want a name brand that's not going to let you down. So you don't want to go buying yourself, say, a £50 drone when you can get a DJI one that you know is not going to let you down. The £50 drone lets your shots down, you end up messing up a gig, and you know, it's just not, the price isn't worth it when you're doing actual shoots for customers. You want your best gear because that's where you're going to get your price range from. You want a price to the gear that you have. So if you've got a load of cheap gear, you're not going to be able to get a good price because your consistency and your ability to do stuff without any problems is going to be hindered by your gear. So it goes without saying, pro gear if you're a pro. So the first tip I have for you, or that I ask myself, is what's the price gap? So you define the gap between the two products that you want. So let's say you want an £800 tripod, and you can find another tripod that's a knockoff brand that is £750. The gap between 750 and 800 is probably not worth you buying the cheaper brand. You might as well just go for the more expensive brand. If the cheaper brand was £200 or £150 and the main brand was £800, now you're talking about a significant price difference. Now you're talking the difference between you buying an £800 tripod on its own, or you buying a £150 tripod and then having 550, 650, 650, 700, 650 pound spare to now buy maybe a lens or maybe more gear for yourself. So that's my first question I ask myself when I'm looking at new gear, is what's the price gap? How much am I saving in the first instance? So the next question is it fit for purpose? And what I mean by that is, will it work the way you want it or intend it to work? And is that going to help or hinder your project, whatever it is you're doing? So let's say, for example, a Canon battery costs £100. That battery gives you 2.5 hours runtime, talking camcorders, not photography cameras. A knockoff battery may cost you, say, £30, and that knockoff battery is only going to give you, say, an hour's worth of runtime. So now you've got to carry 2 to 3 batteries to get the equivalent of what the one Canon battery got. So now you've spent £90 instead of 100, but you're also carrying 3 batteries, so you've got extra weight that you're carrying to get the same equivalent that you get in one battery. Obviously, the other way round, if the battery does 2.5 hours or whatever, then go for it, go get those batteries. So those are the sort of questions you want to ask yourself, is it going to do what I need it to do? So if it's, say, for example, you're looking at, say, filters for your lens, are you going to be spending 10 minutes trying to struggle to get it out of the case and get it on the actual lens itself? Is the threads very, you know, are they that cheap that they don't screw on very well and it's hard to get on and off? Is it going to be, you know, are you buying a tripod? Is the tripod have quick release tabs so you can get the legs out easier? Is it a lot harder? Does it take longer? Those sorts of questions are the sort of questions that you want to ask when you're buying your gear, because those are the sorts of things that will slow your trip down. So if you're on a photography trip and you want to take a picture of a nice sunrise and it's taking you an extra 10 minutes to get your tripod out because your tripod's not very good, or an extra 5 minutes to get your filter on because your filter's not very good, those are the sorts of things you don't want to happen. So those are the sorts of things that you need to think about when buying gear. So the next question I ask myself is, can I afford it? Let's say I'm buying a £1,000 tripod and I have £150 in the bank. It's going to take me 6 months to save up the other £850. Now that's 6 months that I could be out taking photos. So I could go and buy a tripod for £150 and maybe take 7 months to buy the £1,000 tripod. And in those 6 to 7 months that I've bought that cheap tripod, I'm getting 6 or 7 months worth more of experience, knowledge, and learning how to use a tripod and when to use a tripod, all those sorts of scenarios. Whereas if I just save for 7 months, that's 7 months of not doing anything. So I need to evaluate whether not buying a cheaper item is going to hinder my progress as a photographer. So the next question I ask myself is, how often am I using this item? So if it's, for example, a tripod, I'll probably use it daily. If it's a drone, for example, then will I use it on a regular basis? Am I just buying a drone just for a quick trip to, I'm going to, I don't know, Iceland, and I want to get some drone shots of the surrounding areas, and then I'll probably never use a drone because I've got no interest in it? Are you wasting money doing that? And you can spend that on other items that you need in your photography or videography. So borrowing a drone or renting a drone is probably the better option than buying the drone.
So we're back home and the batteries on my microphone had died, so I couldn't do any more filming. I'd actually got quite far into filming. I think I got probably about 20-30 minutes more worth of footage that just had no sound at all, and I didn't realise that the batteries had gone. I'd fully charged the batteries before I'd come out, but they'd obviously just failed, so I guess I'll be using those tips to look for some new rechargeable batteries for myself. That being said, I did have one more bit of advice that I would use when I'm purchasing new items, and that is do my homework. So check out the reviews, check out the scores, like you got 5-star scores on Amazon, say, for example. Look through the reviews and see which ones are accurate. See if you can gauge, like a 5-star review isn't always a 5-star review, because somebody will just put on there, oh, this is a great product. And that's not really giving you a review on a product, that's just saying it's a great product. And a lot of the times they'll put on there a 1-star review. And the reason that is because, say, I don't know, they couldn't find the information booklet inside the packaging, for example, and they can be silly things. So read through all the reviews and see which one stands out, which ones look like they're genuine reviews, and which ones work, which ones do you think will have the information that you need. And once you've done that, do more research, go on to other sites and look at their reviews, because more often than not, sellers like on Amazon will send out a little card that says, if you give me a good review, I'll send you a free product. So a lot of the reviews, the higher 5-star reviews, are genuinely fake. So you can end up with a product that you didn't know was going to be as bad as it was, because the reviews all said it was good. So always do multiple sites and just try and get an overall picture of what you're looking at. And if there's no reviews for the product you're looking for, then try places like Reddit. Tom's Hardware, I think, is one. You can just post on there and ask people what they think of that product, or whether they think that product will work for what you need. And a lot of the times you'll get a lot of answers that will help you with what you're looking for. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate that. And please do let me know what you think in the comments of what you do for when you're buying new products. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do consider clicking the subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you get notifications of when new videos drop. If you haven't liked the video, then please do click a thumbs up. It gives me a little boost on YouTube, and they'll send it out to other people and whatnot. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.